Hello, everyone. This is Luke 9, and it's called Jesus Frees a Boy from an Evil Spirit. The next day, Jesus, Peter, John, and James came down from the mountain. A large group of people met Jesus. A man in the group shouted to him, "Teacher, please come and look at my son. He is the only child I have." An evil spirit comes into him, and then he shouts. He loses control of himself and foams at the mouth. The evil spirit continues to hurt him and almost never leaves him. I begged your followers to make the evil spirit leave my son, but they could not do it. Jesus answered, "You people today have no faith. Your lives are all wrong. How long must I be with you and be patient with you?" Then Jesus said to the man, "Bring your son here." While the boy was coming, the demon threw the boy to the ground. The boy lost control of himself. But Jesus gave a strong command to the evil spirit. Then the boy was healed, and Jesus gave him back to his father. All the people were amazed at the great power of God. So, this is about an example of showing you what an evil spirit can do. A lot of evil spirits aren't in the business of just throwing people around. Evil likes to be sneaky, like a sneaky snake, and slip up on you so that you don't see it coming. But there are some out of control, just massive, crazy spirits that will do things like this. And people might think that, oh, that doesn't sound too true, but look around. If you want to see an evil spirit working in somebody, uh, Google something like that flocka drug, or see somebody spazzed out. And sometimes people don't even have to have drugs or liquor in them to act like this. They're just acting like this because that's the spirit in them. They're going crazy, being thrown around, foaming at the mouth. And you might say, what the heck is wrong with this person? Are they faking? Is it for real? That's evil within them. So that's what Jesus is doing. And before Jesus got to this person whose boy had the evil spirit in him, before he got there, then some of his disciples had already tried to take the evil spirit out the boy. And Jesus told the people, were like, the son's father, the boy's father, he said, "Your disciples came already and tried to take this evil spirit out of him, and I don't know why they couldn't do it, but they couldn't do it. So can you please help?" And Jesus accounted that as a lack of faith, because the people didn't believe well enough in God that God could take that evil spirit out of the boy. So this must have been some powerful evil spirit. So it would have taken a lot of faith, a lot of, trust in God. And the littlest doubt probably would have kicked it out of kicked the littlest doubt in that God could heal the boy would have stopped the evil spirit from coming out. So Jesus walks up and just says a strong command to the evil spirit. They don't say what it was, but it was probably like, "Come out of him." So once he said that, the evil spirit left and the boy was healed. And people were amazed at the great power of God. So please believe, just like there's good spirits, people who have a good spirit, you might know someone with a good spirit, there's also evil spirits. There's a war going on behind the scenes, and you have no clue that it's existing, but you see people acting out all crazy, or just like that Uber driver who said a few months ago he was going on his way to work, just a regular old person, said he was going on his way to work, and when he opened his Uber app to start getting jobs for Uber and working, and Uber is that car service, like a taxi cab service, if you're not familiar. But he went to work, and then he got some demon evil message that told him to go and start killing people. And that's exactly what he did. Now I gotta think, what kind of weak mind would let an app, or if, for example, if I opened this Bible app, and it said, "Go outside and knock on the neighbor down the street's door and strangle them to death." Now, a rational, reasonable, good spirited, or godly minded, not good spirited, but godly minded person would think, what the heck is going on here? You wouldn't think this is an actual command to yourself. Why would this be a command to me? What purpose? You have to compare. Of course, God can give you messages, sure. But when it's something this silly, you have to start thinking, number one, that's dumb to do. As soon as you see, you would already know that's not something you're going to do. You would think, somebody must have hacked me, trying to play on my phone, something like that. You wouldn't just go out and do it. Oh, this app told me to do it, so I must go do it. I mean, even if it had a reward at the bottom, if you go kill the person down the street, you'll get $1 million. There's no way that you're going to believe this is real. Just like we have common sense to know if we open our emails and we see spam where somebody in Nigeria is saying, oh, my uncle just won $1 million and I don't have a bank account to transfer the money into, but if you let me use your bank account, then I'll let you keep some of the money and you send the rest to me. We can understand this is a scam or something weird, you've been hacked. We won't think this is an actual something to obey. Um, God's word will usually be something for positivity, something to help out somewhere. If I open this app and then all of a sudden there was a big heart out of nowhere on my screen, I would say, oh, that's so beautiful. Whoever sent this, that's such a godly thing to do. That kind of thing. That's the difference between identifying what's evil and what's not. So I don't know what the Uber man was on, what his mental status was or what, but there's no way in the world somebody should open up an app and it says go start killing people and then somebody obeys that. I mean, that's foolishness, and God warns you to be wise. Even if you don't have that as a natural trait of yours, be wise. I mean, don't be a dummy. That's the kind of person who would open their email and see spam to send their bank account information somewhere and would do it. And to me, it has to be some other underlying reason. That can't be the only reason that Uber driver just started killing. I think he just wanted to. A lot of people also try to blame God on stuff like, especially in Texas. I don't know if they say it's maybe the water or something, but you always see a Texan woman killing her children. I don't know why it's so prevalent in my state, but you always see some Texas woman saying, oh, God told me to drown my children today. Why would he tell you that? Some people just try to do that insanity plea. They have the evil in their spirit already, and they know they're gonna go down. Since they did the crime they wanted to commit, now they're in the trouble of getting punishment for it. So they're going to try to get the easy way out and say the most craziest thing. Oh, I was obeying God. Oh, I opened my app and the devil told me go kill. I saw something, it said go kill somebody. No, that's just that evil spirit working inside of you that you have let lay dormant for a long time, but now you're ready to act on it. So a lot of people give God a bad rep by saying God said this, God said that, and even when somebody's saying God said do good things, you see it all the time in the church house or whatever. For especially when some people who are just swindlers at heart, they just come on and just try to tell you all these scriptures from God and say, oh, I got a word from God, yes. And it's so weird that this isn't true, but it's always weird that when someone's trying to trick you, they always pronounce miracle like miracle. I don't know what I say. Yes, God's got a miracle for you today. And it's so funny. That's not true that everybody who pronounces it that way is just out for your money. But it's so weird that when I do notice the ones who's trying to scheme you or scam you just to give money, they always say miracle with a W. Just a note that I'm saying. But yeah, people lie on God all day. It could be for something good, something bad, but God gets a bad rap for a lot of things that he's not even saying. People are like, yes, I got a word from God that you should do this, do that, and they haven't heard anything because they're not praying to God, spending time with God. I mean, God's not just throwing out words all willy-nilly. He says things for a purpose and usually for guidance to direct you to him so that you can direct others as well. That kind of thing is not just all willy-nilly for you to bring money into a church house. God said that if you tithe $700,000 today, you will get $7 million back. God's not spitting that out. Trust me. And I could stand before God right now and say, God, you didn't say to say that. People are just saying this. Of course, you said to tithe, to give, especially to help the kingdom of heaven, to put out the word everywhere. But you sure aren't every weekend, every time I see this show come on TV, at the same time, same channel, same place, same hour, everything the same. And here comes you with a different amount every time. God said this week, last week it was 700,000, but this week is $1 million. If you send that to me right now, you will have $10 million guaranteed. Send it right now. Don't wait for your miracle. It's coming on the way right now. God's not saying that. God, if I'm lying, you know I'm not. So that's 100% guarantee God's not spitting out these amounts all the time. Every once in a while, maybe he's saying, hey, tell this person to give this and watch what I do for that person. Sure. But he's not throwing out these large dollar amounts every single weekend, every time you turn on this one channel. So that's just another tidbit to add. Be careful when somebody says something's from God, whether it be good or bad. You go to God and say, did you say this, God? And even if you have to wait, God sees that one day is the same thing as 1,000 days. So even if you think you're waiting a long time, it's still a day to God. And he'll have the answer for you. If you're unsure to move on something, and it doesn't seem godly especially, then it's okay to keep praying to God. God, I can't move until I know this. I was reading something a moment ago in what chapter? I think Ezekiel, where this man, he was, and I posted this too on my social media. This man, who was it? Dang it! I just read this and it's just living my recollection. But anyway, this man, he was just wondering, God, you say you're with us. If you're with us, an angel came and visited him. If you're with us, what's all these problems going on around here? Why are these troubles? Why are these problems? You're supposed to be the giver of good things. If you're with me, God, why am I going through all this? Why is my nation going through so many problems? And the angel didn't say, God's not with you. Angel didn't address the problems. He just said, look, you do something about it. And that's what God's telling us. While we're coming to him, praying to him, God, why is all these problems in my life? I trust you. I worship you. I love you. God's saying, you have the power of me. You are God. I called you God in my word. There should be no problems. It's all up to you. You want to change in your life? Change your life. I've given you that power. There's no reason really for you to pray to me because I'm in you. I live in you. But still, of course, pray to God. But he's saying, whatever you want to do it if it's in the name of God, if it's for good purposes. But anyway, the man, the man was just wondering why all these problems. I forgot what specific thing I was trying to get to, but anyway, that's still a good thing to talk about. He was wondering why all these problems are occurring, but God's saying, hey, you can do it yourself. Do it. Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. The man, God told him to do something. So if you have to wait and be patient to see if something's, really from God, because a lot of people are saying things are from God. God said this, God said that. God's not doing all that talking. But this man, he was, and I'm surprised because God treats, it's so weird because I guess God can see who people are at their spirit. So, like for example, in the New Testament, there's an example where Zechariah, I think his name is, the father of John, he's visited by an angel. And the angel says, you will have a child. His name will be John. He'll come before Jesus Christ to introduce the way. And he'll tell everybody that Jesus is coming and to turn from their sins. You're about to have that child. You're old, but your wife will still have a child. And Zechariah, he doesn't believe, so he's doubting the angel. And he's like, I don't believe this. Why do you think that my wife, who's old, is going to have a child? So the angel gets mad and says, what? I'm the angel who stands before God. How dare you disrespect me and not believe what I said? So since you did that, I'm going to take away your voice until the time your baby is born. So he got punished. But this story that I'm talking about, where I said that the man asked God, why is there all these problems in the world? The angel told him, you do something about it. And there's, as time went on, there's more to the story where the man would get a message from God to do something. And God would say, go do this. And the man would doubt him. And he'd be like, If this is really you telling me to do this, then make this happen, make that happen. He would say, I'm going to put some lamb skin on the ground, and if it gets wet, then I believe that you're the really one who's telling me to do this, God. So he would go to sleep, and the lamb skin would be wet, and he'd wake up, and he'd say, okay. And that wasn't enough for him to believe. What he asked for, it came true. That wasn't enough to believe, so he went another step and said, okay, well, you made it wet, but this time when I go to sleep, when I wake up, I want to see that it's dry, just so I can make sure that this is what you're telling me. So this man, he didn't get any consequences for testing God, but this other man got consequences. And God has a right to choose however he wants to handle somebody. But the point is that God is no problem if you don't know what's true from God. If somebody's trying to trick you, or you feel they're tricking you and say they're telling you God said something, go to God, ask him, ask him to prove that this really came from him. And God will help you like he helped that man. Or he might choose to take something from you just because you didn't trust him. It's God's decision. That was, what was that? Oh, yeah. That was Jesus frees a boy from an evil spirit. There's good spirits out there, there's evil spirits out there. And it takes us to use our spiritual wisdom and our godly knowledge to know the difference between both. So after this would be Luke 9, 44 or 43 and a half. The title's called Jesus Talks About His Death, so check it out.